Hey guys, what's going on? It's the Chinist. So yeah, I'm over in the Houston area. So there's been a huge flooding all over the place, and a huge delay on new comic books for coming in for both last week and this week. So what I have for you here today instead is going to be a graphic novel haul. This stack is what I've accumulated over the past few months. This has come from three different sources. We have LCS, InStockTrades.com, as well as Half Price Bookstore. So starting off, we're going to start off with the smaller digest size, which I just hate. But yeah, so this is like an ongoing continuation of the storyline of the Legend of Korra that came out a couple years back now on TV. So I thought this TV show was pretty good. They kept the great essence of what Nickelodeon did on the first go around with Aang, being the Avatar. Aang actually shows up here in this series as well, older, and this is like I think this is like 15 years into the future, I think, maybe like 10 years into from the end of episode 1, or I'm sorry, season 1. So yeah, at the end of this one, they kind of did like this little cop-out deal to where they kind of show you that these two the main character Korra and I think her name was Asami, are were actually into each other, and so they're homosexual, you find out, and they're going into the spirit world at the very end of the last season. So pretty cool how they kind of kick off right into where they left off, that very last scene. But I just didn't really like the way they kind of showed how they were into each other. So yeah. So anyways, besides that, pretty cool. Great storyline overall. So I'd like to see how they continue it on. Okay, next up we have a few from Marvel, and this one came from one of my LCSs. I think this was like 75% off. They were having like a sale. So yeah, I have. I think Longshot had two different miniseries that came out, if I recall that correctly. I did have both of them, or I do have both, and kind of flipping through this, I recall reading through this when I was younger. So Longshot was always pretty cool to me. I really enjoyed him. Nowhere near Iceman and Wolverine, by any means, but he was pretty far up there, top 5 favorite mutants that I ever had. So I'd like to read through this one, read through this one through scratch, kind of see if do I remember, did my mind elevate this character, above what he really was, So I'd like to see if this, kind of kept throughout time. So yeah, Longshot. Okay, next up we have Totally Awesome Hulk. I kind of keep up with this one through trade. I pick up some of the, key issues here and there that do come up in single issue form. But overall, I've been kind of keeping up with this one in trade. Unfortunately, since I keep up with this one in trade, I don't subscribe to it, so I missed out on when the Wolverine, or the Hulk Wolverine hybrid came out, the very first one. So man, that one sold out. I did not get that one, so yeah, I kind of kicked myself in the ass for not picking that one up, or not subscribing to that one. But yeah, enjoyed Amadeus Cho. I really enjoy that guy. Okay, next up we have Superman. So I just read through Flashpoint. I read through the Rebirth that I had, so I had Justice League, Batman, I had some Superman, but not all. So in the Road to Rebirth, I only had 2. I had the Superman and this Lois and Clark, which I already picked up a few months back. So I'm right about to finish that one up and head into Rebirth. So if I'm missing anything in New 52, guys, please let me know. But yeah, this one, I actually caught this one on YouTube. I know this whole storyline. Man, it was great stuff, great tearjerker, the way they kind of build up this Superman who came in the New 52 world, and, he dies before Rebirth actually happens. So yeah, man, great storyline. I want to read through it myself, but, saw this one on YouTube, thought it was excellent. Okay, so then we get into the Superman of the Rebirth world. So I already had volume number 1, so this is volume number 2 and volume number 3. I know some of the storyline kind of through YouTube, either online weekly shows, or just through other summarizations that I see on YouTube. But I want to read all the Superman that's been in Rebirth so far, that's come up, so I have not read through volume 1 yet. I wanted to read 1 through 3, so I have Superman number 1 through 3 now, and then I also have Action Comics number 1 that I had already. This is number 2 and number 3. So yeah, I kind of want to read all 3 of each title now that I have them all. Okay, so next up we have Starman, and Starman was one of those characters who was the older Silver Age type of things. He went into the Bronze Age as well. He was part of JSA, and I really love JSA, the Jeff Johns version of JSA when it came back out again in the early 2000s. Really enjoyed it. So because of that, kind of started talking to the owner of one of the LCSs, and he recommended me towards this title here. He kind of collected, I think it's like 3 generations of Starman that has occurred. I think this occurs all before the JSA side of things. So yeah, Starman. Okay, Eman Thundercats. So I picked up number 1 when it came out, read through it, I loved it, but I really wanted to read this one, like all the storyline together. For a lot of these crossovers, the monthly is just too long of a wait, and it's a short storyline, so I like to read these kind of all together, so I kind of wait for the trades. So again, I picked up number 1 when it came out, loved it, so I read through this portion of it. I liked how it was, it was more realistic than, so you have the straight up cartoon characters that we kind of grew up with, but this is, far more, realistic of a storyline. I kind of wish the cartoons would have been like this, but I guess it wouldn't be, would not have been geared towards kids. So yeah, man, cool stuff. Eman Thundercats. Okay, so Injustice, I've loved this one so far. I've read years 1 through 4. I think year 5, I think everything had, 3 volumes so far. So I think year 5 has 1 more volume to come out, so I'm going to wait for that volume 3 before I actually read through this year number 5. But I have enjoyed years number 1 through 4. I think the end of year number 2, I think was the best, to where if they stopped at year number 2, I think it would have been pretty awesome just to finish up the storyline there. But years number 3 and 4 were just okay. So yeah, I want to see what this year number 5 is, and of course they finished off at 5, and they started Injustice 2, title that's an ongoing series now. Okay, so Teen Titans, and this is from the Silver Age. This is like the first Teen Titans that ever came out. So there's a couple volumes. I think there's like 3 different series, or 3 different volumes that kind of cover Teen Titans right now that I found. I felt that this was the most comprehensive, and so as you see, I picked these up at Half Price Bookstore. So this one I found had far more than just the Teen Titans series. It kind of came up with their first introductions, Brave and the Bold. They had a few of these other storylines before they actually hit into Teen Titans number 1. It seemed like all the other volumes kind of started at Teen Titans number 1. So yeah, man, pretty cool. I fell in love with Teen Titans. I kind of stayed away from the Silver Age when I was kind of growing up, just because the artwork, it was too newspaper-ish to me, and DC kind of stayed with this type of news, older news strip type comic artwork for like a long time. So I kind of grew up with more Marvel and X-Men, if you watch some of my older videos out there. So yeah, so I started really getting into a lot more Silver Age now, and especially everything Teen Titan related. So yeah, so I'm actually going back, starting with Teen Titans of this, the very first original Teen Titans, going all the way through. So yeah, that's volume number 1 and 2 I was able to find. Then, after that series, we had the new Teen Titans. So I picked up volume number 1 and 2 of the new Teen Titans. So you had this group for a while, and then they kind of like renumbered it again, and they kind of started off with like a new, another group. That other group that came after this group did not seem very interesting to me, so I think I'm going to skip that one and kind of finish off the series here at this new Teen Titans series. So I think after this, I actually may go into the Titans series, which I've never ever read before in my life. So yeah, love Teen Titans. So continuing on. We then get into the Jeff Johns reboot of the Teen Titans, and I've read some of these storylines here and there. I read through Crisis on Infinite Earths, and so aware that Superboy, aware of his fate, aware that he dies, later on. So yeah, I love almost everything that Jeff Johns has ever touched that I've read. Flash, Green Lantern. were some The Outsiders. No, I'm sorry, not The Outsiders. What was that other one that he had? JSA was out there. Love JSA. So yeah, man, love Teen Titans, love Jeff Johns. So really looking forward to reading through the series. Okay, next we get into our smaller third-party publishers. So getting into Valiant, and quick shout out to Jackie O. I was completely unaware of this series until he kind of commented on one of my videos about this one. I thought I was done collecting all the Harbinger type of titles that were out there until he let me know that there's this one more that I was unaware of. So yeah, this one's all about Harada. He was one of the the main Harbinger. I'm sorry, the main Psiots. Of course, Psiots are like mutants in the Marvel world, but he's like the strongest one that's out there. So this storyline kind of pivots all around him, and I think this is far after any Harbinger series that we're aware of. I think this is actually in the future. So yeah, just kind of flipping through this one, looked like there was a lot of action. So I got this whole series. So that's volume number 1, volume number 2, 3. And we finished that title off with volume number 4, Stormbreak. So yeah, really interested in getting back into this one. I think that's Livewire right there. Okay, next up we have a few Dark Horse. So I picked up Harrow County. Let's see, so this is volume number 4 and 5. So I've read through volumes number 1 and 3. Man, I loved those volumes right there. So I love, quite a bit of horror, but it's really rare for me to actually find horror that I enjoy. There's tons of horror titles that are out there, but to find actual horror that I enjoy, man, it's like extremely rare. So this is one of them. At first the artwork was a little bit off-putting to me, to tell you the truth. I didn't really thought it fit well until I got into that first volume, and man, I was hooked. Like, oh guys, if y'all like horror and you're looking for something a little bit different and y'all did not originally pick this up when it came out, highly suggest for y'all to go pick this one up. Again, volume number 1 and 3 is what I've read. I truly enjoyed those, and this is volume number 4 and 5. So yeah, Harrow County. Okay, next up from IDW we have Star Trek Boldly Go. So I picked up the single issues. I think I picked up number 1, 2, 3, and then after that I think my local LCS quit picking it up. So I just didn't get to finish off that storyline, but man, I really enjoyed it so far. I wish the artwork would have been just a little bit better. I felt this is kind of like a 3.25 on the artwork side. I wish it could have been, just a little bit more on the interior artwork side, a little bit higher grade. But other than that, man, like, truly high action storylines that are going on here. I finished off, I think issue number 3 was about the Borg, so they were getting into the Borg, and I thought that was pretty cool. Great storylines, things that we never saw, on the movie side so far. So yeah, cool. Star Trek Boldly Go. Okay, next up from IDW again is going to be Lock and Key. So I picked up only volume number 1, and I picked up a one-shot that came out maybe like 4 months ago. Man, I really enjoyed it. Really good stuff. So I went out and picked up a few volumes of this. Great storyline. I enjoy the artwork that goes along with this one. This has just like this weird storyline to where there's all these supernatural things going on. The main focus is around the kids, and that's just like every day for them. So it's they kind of live in this magical world, so to speak. That's part of the real world. They kind of neighbor on the real world. They kind of you'll see some regular people here and there. But man, cool stuff. So I picked up this is volume number 2. Number 3 and 4. And then number 5 and number 6. And I think it finishes off here. I think the whole title finishes off here at volume number 6, Alpha and Omega. So guys, if I'm wrong about that, please let me know. But I think that the ongoing title is now done. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. Lock and Key. Okay, next up, this is from one of my LCSs. This is a recommendation from one of the owners, Samurai. He's kind of aware of the artwork and some of the storylines that I do enjoy. Flipping through this one, it looked pretty cool. Pretty detailed artwork, and I give this one maybe like a 4.25 on my 5-point scale. But it seemed pretty intriguing. It seemed like there was some pretty cool action that was kind of going on, along the way. So yeah, Samurai, Brother in Arms. All right, next up, Bob's Burgers. Man, I love this TV series. I think it's hilarious. So I picked up a few of these. I think I had volume number 1. So, based on that one, I thought it was pretty good, exactly like the TV show. So I went ahead and picked up a few more volumes that they had out there. So I think I picked up everything that I could find. So that's volume 2, 3, and here is one more. And I guess they don't really number their volumes, so this one's called Well Done. So yeah, man, pretty cool stuff. You can tell the artwork is just like the TV show. You could actually hear their voices as you're reading through. Just if you enjoy the TV show, you will highly enjoy these comic series. Okay, next up, Grand Passion. So this was another one that I think I picked up like issue number 1, 2, 3, and then after that, I just couldn't find 4 on. So I went ahead and finished this one off in trade. This one was pretty cool, man. This was kind of like a Pulp Fiction type of storyline where you have multiple storylines kind of going on, and they kind of all come together. At the end, you kind of see like how things kind of unfold and how one event kind of affects the other. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. Grand Passion. I think this starts off with a bank robbery, and things just kind of happen after that. So I really enjoyed that issue number 1, 2, 3 that came out so far. So I want to see how this title finished up here. Okay, this was one I picked up from In Stock Trade. I saw the picture, it reminded me of Chucky. I think this was on sale, maybe like 75% off at that point in time. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. I enjoy the artwork that was here. I'm sure this is kind of be like it's going to be more like a Chucky-esque type of storyline here. But those are always highly entertaining to me, and really enjoy those storylines. So yeah, Ginger Dead Man. Okay, next up, Proof, and I think we hit the image stack now at this point in time. So I picked up, this is number 4, so I picked up Proof, volume number 1 through 3, just to kind of check it out, see what it was like. Man, I loved it. So, so Proof he is actually a Sasquatch, or, Bigfoot. And in this world, there are, monsters that kind of exist alongside, regular humans. There's not many of them, they're mostly in hiding. And, they know of each other. They kind of went through this whole, like, Nazi, like death camp type of scenario where they all, escape, like, in the, the dead of winter. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. You see him kind of grow in character, and I think Proof went, I think I have 6 volumes here, and I think that kind of finished it off, and I think the ongoing series is now done. So I'm sure at the very end he may not be alive, but man, cool stuff so far. He's kind of like X-Files, but he himself is a monster. So that's volume number 4. I have volume number 5, number 6. And I think we finished the volume off there. Okay, so next up we have The Dying and the Dead. And this is by Hickman. I've enjoyed quite a few things that I've read by Hickman so far. I did not pick this one up in the ongoing monthly issues. I think I picked it up, kind of thumbed through it, and I kind of put it back down. So when this trade came out, it was actually the owner of the LCS again, who kind of knows the storylines I kind of look for. So he recommended this one, try to see if, or he thought that I would enjoy it. So yeah, here we go. The Dying and the Dead. Okay, next up we have Spread. This is volume number 3, and I picked up volume number 4. Man, I really loved, I had volume number 1 and 2. I highly enjoyed that stuff. So this is by Justin Jordan. This is the same guy who did Luther Strode, and man, Luther Strode is one of my most favorite, titles that I've ever read, to tell you the truth. So yeah, this one kind of had, that gorish kind of future apocalyptic type of world to it. You have this virus this virus is kind of like alive, it's kind of like a living being, and it infects various people, and once you're infected, you're screwed. So it's not really zombie, it's kind of more monster anime-esque, future apocalyptic type of world. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. It took me a while to, I've had volume number 1 and 2 like for over like a year. I finally got to it, loved it, so I want to finish this off. So again, volume number 3 and 4. Okay, still going on the Image run. So this is Manifest Destiny, volume number 4. I've read volume number 1 through 3 so far. Man, love that stuff. I enjoy history, quite a bit. I'm sure that kind of, helps to the love of this title that I have. But yeah, man, pretty cool stuff. So, this is like the Lewis and Clark-esque type of time period here, and they're kind of exploring through America, and what they kind of explain to you is back then there was like all these type of monsters, they kind of existed. Now they're all dead, as we live our current lives, but this is kind of what really happened back in the past. Man, great detail type of artwork. The dialogue is there for me. Man, great action, good stuff. Manifest Destiny. Okay, Tech Jacket. So I picked up volume number 1 and 2. I was kind of on the fence. It was pretty decent. It didn't really blow me away by any means, but I knew that this finished off at volume number 4. So I was halfway in the damn storyline, and I really wanted to finish it off. So pretty cool stuff. You have like this alien armor that similar to Exo in a way. But you have this alien armor who kind of comes down, I guess actually more similar to Blue Beetle, actually. Comes down, gets on this human, and, things kind of happen after that. A lot of good action, good stuff. It just wasn't, I would grade this like a 3.5 out of 5 on the storyline of volume number 1 and 2. So yeah, I want to finish this off, see what it's like, see if I'm going to recommend it for y'all or not. Okay, God Country. I'm sure there's almost everyone's aware of this title at this point in time. But man, love this stuff. Love the single issue. So I wanted to read the storyline just one time through, all together without that monthly break in between. Just to see if this is as good as what I remember in the monthly issues. But man, I really loved Donny Cates' storyline here. There's a lot of different Donny Cates storylines that I really enjoy right now. So yeah, God Country. Okay, Birthright. So this was one, so this is volume number 5. I read volumes number 1, 2, 3, and then I kind of waited for number 4 to come out. When 4 came out, by the time number 4 came out, I almost completely forgot what the storyline was. I had to go back and reread a little bit of volume 3. But man, still good stuff, This may be one to where I may wait for the next volume to come out. Purchase that one and then kind of read 3 in a row. But man, I love the detailed artwork here. Again, this is maybe like a 4.25 out of 5 on the artwork side of things. I love everything like, night related, Lord of the Rings type of magic, night related type of stuff. And this one really, fills that bill there. So yeah, Birthright. Okay, next up we have Revival, and so I picked up quite a few of these here. So this is number 7 and 8, number 4, number 6, and number 5. So I picked up volumes, or I've read through volumes number 1 through 3, so I want to finish off the series. Man, I really enjoyed it. This is similar to like a zombie-esque type of storyline, but really kind of sort of not the same. So you kind of become immortal is what this is. So there was like this rapture to where, I guess kind of like heaven got backed up. So no one's really dying. You could kind of kill yourself, but you just keep on coming back to life. So pretty cool concept. They took this in all different types of ways. You have like gangs kind of profiting, from this type of stuff. Not everyone is like this. There's only like certain areas of people who kind of became like this. So yeah, cool stuff. Revival. So I want to read all the way through this and see if I want to recommend this title to you all guys. Okay, guys, I had to readjust the camera a little bit. So I'm going to finish this off with a couple hardcover editions that I picked up. So Invincible. So I read through, I think, the first 3 or 4 trades, which makes up volume number 1. So I read those in trade paperbacks. Loved it. Man, I really love this Invincible. So Invincible is kind of like, you know, another like alternate reality of what Superman and the Kryptonians coming to Earth could have been. It's like a darker reality, I would say. So, you know, even though this is, you know, the artwork is more of like, you know, like, what's the word there? You know, more of like a teenager type of, you know, high emotion, not high emotion, but, you know, you would think from the artwork that the storyline is a little bit more dumbed down on the superhero genre. Man, it's not. You know, this is really for adults. It's really complex. There's a lot of gore that happens here. A lot of you know, a lot of real world. You know, what the superhero genre, you know, really would have been in real life. You know, it would have been more like this. So man, great stuff. You know, so I'm all over Invincible now. I want to read through these hardcovers number 2 and 3 that I picked up to see if I want to go all the way through. But what I've read so far, man, really enjoy it, guys. Alright, on that same Image hardcover note, I read through Chew. I think I only read through volume number 1. On the trade, man, fell in love with it instantaneously, so I went ahead and I got the hardcover editions of volumes number 1 and 2. At the end of 2, I'll decide if I want to continue on or not. But man, Chew was great. And by the way, I picked this one up through InStockTrade.com. If you can see here, there's a little bit of damage. So this is on the damage column, and because of the damage, man, it was actually 75% off. So I actually got this one for only like $8, man. It was, man, great condition, you know, for that little minimal damage that came in. But man, storyline of this one, guys, great stuff. You have this detective who has the ability to chew food or chew part of the flesh of the person who died, and from that he could get, you know, like this whole back history of what's going on, kind of like Vibe, you know, from the Flash TV show in a sense. So yeah, cool stuff. So of course he uses his powers for good. You know, he's a detective, so he's trying to solve all these murders, and he kind of gets wrapped up into this little mob deal. So yeah, man, cool stuff. That's going to be it for this month's graphic novel haul. Guys, if you like what you see here, please like and subscribe. We'll talk to you later.